it can't be this, I have to do this to save the country. It has to be, God's given me an open door. He's given me a blessing, whatever it is, your business, your ministry, whatever God's laid before you. And Colossians 3:23 says to do everything we can, as the best that we can, as unto God, not unto man.
I met you first 13 years ago, I think, 13 or 14, and you were at it hard then. You've been at it hard since you were a young man. You were the youngest elected legislator in Texas history. Is that right?
No, I have to say I was the second youngest
in
the legislature when I was there. I was youngest in my class of about 26 reps, but second youngest there. Too young, to be honest. I mean, I look back and I go, oh my goodness, I was 26 years old. I mean, I'd had a business and 13 employees and a family and paid taxes. But still, man, at 26, I don't think I was seasoned enough. I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it had been just, maybe 10 years later.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's a life of service. You're not 26 anymore. And I'm reminded of Luke 9:62. It says this, Jesus said to him, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for the kingdom of God. And I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit because you've been in this fight for decades now. Kay, your beautiful assistant, who we love for years, recently posted on your Facebook for you. She said, Rick just turned 50 or was turning 50. And in the last year, he's hosted 250 episodes of Wall Builders Live, 120 episodes of his show on American Family Radio, and spoken 89 times at in-person events. It seems like it never stops with you, Rick. And yet you're still in the fight. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I tell you, there's been a couple of influences in my life that made me want to work hard. One was my dad. He always had a good balance. I can remember my dad showing up to every baseball game, and being there as a great father. But he didn't let grass grow under his feet, man. He was always working hard, looking to provide for the family, looking to do things. And then David Barton, David, when I first started working with him, I was amazed at how much he could do in a day. And when I would travel with him and go anywhere with him, I'm looking at this guy I think he's 12, 15 years older than me. I couldn't keep up with him, Garrett. I'm telling you, I would have to chase him. When we go to D.C. to do an event, and we'd be going from one place to the other and using the metro there, right. I was literally scared because, first of all, I hadn't done that stuff, and he's like running from train to train, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose him, and I'm not going to know where in the world I am. I mean, the guy's just a machine. God has used him. And he was influenced by George Whitefield, who, of course, 17,000, 18,000 sermons up and down the colonies. I mean, we wouldn't have a nation without Whitefield. He was pouring those truths and those biblical principles of liberty into the colonies that ultimately would lead to the revolution, and just tireless. Now, granted, I will say, and my wife has been reminding me, Whitefield died at like 54, 56. So she's been saying, let's not do that part, right? And of course, David's in his 60s now and still going strong. And so I'm trying to continue to model David. But what I learned from David was that it's a duty thing. It's not he would always use that parable where Jesus talks about the master comes in. He doesn't say to the servant, hey, you've been working hard all day. Go ahead and sit down, I'll serve you. No, the servant served the master, and that's how we're supposed to do for the master. We're supposed to work hard, use every bit of the talent that he's given us, and that doesn't mean, I don't think that means work ourselves to death. We got to be smart about how we do this, but it means not being lazy. So I do have to make myself take breaks. I really struggle with the Sabbath. I mean, I know it's a command. I know he gave it to us. It's for us, not for him. And he wants us to be healthy. And so he gives us that day to rest. And I have to make myself do that. And I know how much more productive I am when I do it his way. But I got to tell you, man, Barton has been such a good influence on that and just showing me how to balance those things and how to just constantly do your duty. And I didn't realize until we did our Constitutional Live class, I guess 10 years ago, how many quotes of the founders use that word duty. And they even talked about, I think it was Benjamin Rush said, to spend and be spent. And others talked about, just always giving of yourself for your fellow man, for the cause of Christ. And so I've just tried to continue to do that. And also, while saying, I got to say, I don't want anybody to hear that and think that means that we think that it all depends on us. We can't, it can't be this, I have to do this to save the country. It has to be God's given me an open door. He's given me a blessing, whatever it is, your business, your ministry, whatever God's laid before you. And Colossians 3:23 says to do everything we can as the best that we can, as unto God, not unto man. And so that means we're going to constantly do it the best that we can, but it's for him. It's not for what's going to happen here on earth or for our fellow man. It's all ultimately for him. So anyway, that's kind of the philosophy that I've tried to attack it with. But believe me, my wife and the rest of my family thinks the balance needs to get a little better, and I need to rest a little bit more. And maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I don't know. But we're always trying to figure out that nobody's got it down with a perfect formula. Even David Barton would tell you that.
Yeah. It's one of the areas where I think that it's so clearly demonstrated that we live in a broken world, in a sin-cursed world, because even when we're trying to serve faithfully and do our duty, we can see that it's so easy to fall into patterns where that's hurting our family, right? This episode of Rapid Response was brought to you by CTC Math. Visit them at ctcmath.com today.